There comes a moment in every life when the heat turns up, when the pressure builds, when the fire starts raging all around you. You look to the left and there's trouble. You look to the right and there's resistance. You can't move forward without walking through flames, and you can't go back because the bridge has already burned. And right there, right in the middle of that moment, you start to question God, is this fire here to finish me? But I came to tell you today, asterisk, the fire is not here to destroy you. It's here to refine you. Asterisk, see, we've been taught to fear the fire. We've been trained to run from heat. But what if I told you that the very thing you're trying to escape is the exact place where God does his deepest work? Gold isn't made in comfort. Diamonds don't form in peace. Oil doesn't flow without pressure. And destiny, real destiny, is not birthed in convenience. It's forged in fire. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. You are being purified. Everything unnecessary, everything fake, everything weak in you, this fire is burning it off. The fire is targeting your fear. It's melting down your insecurity. It's breaking the chains of people, pleasing, anxiety, bitterness, and small thinking. Because when you come out of this, you won't come out the same. You'll come out free. You'll come out focused. You'll come out fierce. Don't curse the fire. It's proof that something valuable is inside of you. Thieves don't break into empty houses. Hell wouldn't be coming after you if you weren't carrying something powerful. The attack on your life is evidence that your life matters. If you weren't chosen, you wouldn't be challenged. But because God has placed greatness inside of you, the heat had to be turned up to draw it out. Now, the enemy wants you to think the flames mean it's over. He wants you to believe you've made too many mistakes, waited too long, failed too hard. But God says, I'm not done with you. I'm just getting started. You see ashes, but he sees beauty. You feel smoke choking you out, but he sees breath returning to your spirit. And even in the midst of this fire, he's standing right there with you. You are not alone. The same God who was in the furnace with the 3 Hebrew boys is walking in the middle of your fire right now. So don't run from it. Don't bow under it. Don't back down because of it. Stand still and let the fire do its work. Because when it's all said and done, when the smoke clears and the flames die down, you will come out shining. You will come out stronger. And you'll look back and realize that what tried to burn you only built you. What tried to kill you couldn't touch the purpose in you, because this fire, it was never meant to finish you. It was sent to reveal you. There's a silence in the storm that most people miss. There's a whisper in the whirlwind that only those who are still enough can hear. And too often, we miss it because we've been conditioned to respond to volume, to chaos, to noise. We think that if God is going to move, it has to shake the earth, split the skies, or rumble like thunder. But what if I told you that sometimes the most powerful word from God doesn't come with a bang? It comes in a whisper. See, the problem isn't that God isn't speaking. The problem is that we're surrounded by so much noise we don't recognize his voice. The noise of anxiety, the noise of doubt, the noise of other people's opinions, your own insecurities, and the distractions that bombard your spirit every single day. You're scrolling through social media trying to find affirmation, flipping through channels hoping for clarity, running to people when you should be running to prayer. And all the while, God is speaking, but his voice is being drowned out by your storm. It was never about the volume. It was always about the connection. God doesn't have to yell to prove He's present. When you really know someone, when your relationship is deep enough, a whisper is all it takes. It's intimate, it's intentional, it's personal, and that's how God chooses to deal with you, not with the loudness of fear, but with the softness of love. Not with the roar of condemnation, but with the whisper of purpose. You don't need another sign, another lightning bolt, or another earthquake to know God is near. You just need to be still in your spirit, be still in your heart. Be still enough to recognize the gentle nudge, the quiet leading, the peaceful prompting that says, "This is the way, walk in it." Too many of us are chasing the roar, and we're missing the whisper. We're expecting God to part the sea again, and He's saying, "Can you trust me in the silence? Can you lean in even when there's no dramatic confirmation? Can you obey when the instructions come soft, steady, and subtle?" You keep asking for God to show up in power, but what if power looks like peace this time? What if the real miracle is not the fire falling from heaven, but the calm that settles in your heart when all hell is breaking loose? What if the real breakthrough isn't something loud happening around you, but something quiet changing within you? So I urge you, turn down the world so you can turn up heaven. Mute the distractions and amplify your faith. In the stillness, you'll find strategy. In the silence, you'll hear His Spirit. The whisper will guide you through what the world can't explain. And once you've heard that whisper, once it hits your soul, you'll never mistake His voice again. Because that still, small voice, that's the sound of God leading you out of confusion and into your calling. Faith doesn't make the fire disappear. It gives you the strength to walk through it. Faith doesn't cancel the storm. It teaches you how to sleep in the middle of it. Real faith doesn't always remove the obstacle. Sometimes it turns the very obstacle into an opportunity. I want to talk to somebody today who's standing in front of a wall, looking at flames, staring at impossibility, and wondering, how am I going to get through this? Let me tell you, ***, faith is the key that turns trials into triumphs. ***, you keep praying for God to take the fire away, but sometimes God doesn't take the fire away. He gives you the grace to walk through it. The miracle is not always in what disappears. The miracle is in what doesn't destroy you. You should have lost your mind. You should have given up, but faith kept you. Faith covered you. Faith carried you. And while you were walking through the fire was doing something too. It was making room for your elevation. Let me remind you, Peter didn't walk on water because the storm stopped. The storm was still raging. The winds were still howling, but Peter stepped out anyway because his eyes were fixed on Jesus, not the waves. And as long as he looked to the source of his faith, the water held him. It's when he looked down, when he doubted, when he focused on the storm, that's when he began to sink. You will never rise above what you're focused on. If all you see is the fire will control you. If all you hear is the enemy will intimidate you. But when your focus shifts, when your eyes lock in on the one who called you, the fire becomes your foundation. The same flames meant to burn you become the very force that lifts you. Faith does not deny reality, it defies it. Faith says, yes, I see the sickness, but I also see the healer. Faith says, yes, I feel the fear, but I believe in the deliverer. Faith says, yes, I hear the enemy's threats, but I'm standing on a greater word. Faith turns what the enemy sent to take you out into a testimony that lifts God up. You don't need perfect conditions to walk in power. You don't need everybody to believe in you. You just need to believe in what God spoke over you. If he said you're coming out, then you're coming out. If he said you're going higher, then not even hell can hold you down. It's not about the fire. It's about your faith. So stop waiting for the flames to die down. Step out while they're still blazing. Speak life while the wind is still blowing. Move forward while the ground is still shaking. Because faith doesn't wait for the storm to stop. It walks on top of it. And when you walk by faith, every fire becomes a stage for your breakthrough. Every trial becomes a setup for your triumph. There's something about pain that changes you. Something about walking through the fire that leaves a mark not just on your life, but on your spirit. But here's the truth many won't tell you. The fire wasn't just about survival. It was about revelation. Because every time you make it through something you thought would kill you, you don't just come out, you come out with a testimony. You see, a testimony is more than a story. It's proof. It's evidence. It's the receipts that show you didn't just talk about God. You experienced him. You didn't just quote the scripture, you lived it. You didn't just sing about breakthrough. You fought for it, bled for it, wept for it, and by the grace of God, walked out with it, . And now, when you open your mouth, demons tremble not because of your volume, but because of your victory. People see your praise, but they don't know your process. They don't know the nights you cried, the battles you fought in silence, the times you wanted to give up but didn't. They see the shine, but they don't know the suffering that shaped it. That's why your testimony matters. Because it's not just for you. It's for every person watching, waiting, wondering if they'll ever make it through their own fire. When you testify, you're not bragging about your strength. You're revealing God's faithfulness. You're telling hell, you threw everything you had at me, but I'm still standing. You're showing someone else that if God brought you out, He can bring them out too. Your pain becomes their permission to hope again. Your scars become their sign that healing is possible. Your survival becomes their strategy. Don't be ashamed of what you went through. Don't hide your story because it doesn't sound pretty. God doesn't use perfect stories. He uses real ones. He uses broken vessels. He uses cracked voices. He uses wounded worshipers who know what it's like to walk through the valley and still declare, I will fear no evil. And let me tell you something powerful. Your testimony didn't start when the fire ended. It started the moment you decided to walk through it with God. It started the moment you refused to bow down, refused to break, refused to let bitterness take root. Every step you took in faith, every tear you sowed in prayer, every yes you whispered through the pain, it's all part of your testimony. So don't keep silent. Somebody needs your voice. Somebody's deliverance is tied to your story. Somebody's healing is waiting on your honesty. Speak it, declare it. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Because what you survived wasn't in vain. What you endured has power. And when you open your mouth, you're not just speaking words. You're releasing freedom. You're unlocking chains. You're telling the world, I've been through the fire, but the fire didn't win. There comes a moment when you have to make a decision. Will you let the fire paralyze you, or will you let it propel you? Will you shrink back into the shadows of fear, or will you step forward into the light of faith? Because hear me, comfort never birthed greatness. Safety never produced strength. You cannot stay where you are and become who you were born to be. Destiny requires movement. Purpose demands motion. And no matter how hot the fire gets, no matter how loud the enemy roars, You've got to step forward asterisk, not asterisk, step back. Too many people retreat the moment pressure shows up. They back down at the sign of opposition. They take one step forward, then the fire gets close, and they run back to what's familiar. But growth doesn't live in the familiar. Elevation doesn't happen in reverse. Everything God has for you is in front of you, not behind you. Your miracle is not in yesterday. Your promise is not in the past. Your assignment is ahead. And to get there, you've got to walk through some flames. Yes, the fire is real. Yes, it's painful, but don't you dare let it stop you. The enemy knows if you ever step forward in faith, if you ever say yes, for real, chains will break. Lives will change, legacies will be rewritten. That's why the resistance is so strong. That's why the warfare has been so intense. Because the fire is guarding something precious, and you can't access the treasure if you're not willing to go through the test. Fear will tell you, stay where it's safe. But faith will push you and say, go where God is calling. And let me tell you something, you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need a perfect plan. All you need is a made-up mind, a decision that says, I may not know the details, but I trust the direction. I may not see the whole picture, but I know the one who painted it. And with that trust, you take a step. Then another, and before you know it, you've walked through what you once thought would destroy you. You've got to move forward even if your knees are shaking. You've got to keep going even when your heart is breaking. Because forward is where freedom is. Forward is where healing is. Forward is where your purpose lies. Don't let fear lie to you and tell you it's better to stay where it's safe. Safe never changed the world. Safe never split seas. Safe never walked on water. It was always the step, the risk, the stretch. So I'm telling you today, don't retreat. Don't back down, don't bow out. The fire is real, but so is your calling. Step forward, trust the process. Embrace the heat, because the fire you're facing is not your finish line, it's your launch pad. And when you step forward, you're not walking into destruction. You're walking into destiny. There is no fire so fierce, no flame so hot, no storm so violent that it can separate you from the presence of God. I don't care how deep the pain is, how loud the enemy shouts, how thick the smoke gets. God is in it with you. He is not watching from a distance. He is not sitting in heaven waiting for you to figure it out on your own. No, he is right there in the middle of the mess, in the middle of the meltdown, in the middle of the fire. We've been taught that God only shows up in the blessings, in the breakthroughs, in the beautiful moments. But let me tell you something, it's in the fire that he shows up in power. It's in the fire that he proves he's not just the God of the mountaintop, but the God of the furnace. He didn't keep the 3 Hebrew boys out of the fire. He joined them asterisk in asterisk it, and when they came out, they didn't even smell like smoke. Why? Because the fire couldn't do what God didn't permit. The flames were limited by his presence. Don't judge God's nearness by your circumstances. Just because the situation is rough doesn't mean he left. Just because the heat is on doesn't mean you've been forsaken. If anything, the greater the fire, the closer he is. When everything around you is burning and you still have peace. Asterisk, that's God. Asterisk, when the walls are caving in and somehow you're still standing. Asterisk, that's God. Asterisk, when all logic says you should have fallen apart by now, but there's a strength rising up in you that you can't explain. Asterisk, that's God. Asterisk, his presence doesn't always take you out of the fire, but it keeps the fire from taking you out. That's what makes you unshakable. That's what gives you confidence in the chaos. You're not standing because you're strong. You're standing because he's standing asterisk with asterisk you. You're not surviving because you figured it out. You're surviving because his hand is holding you together. And listen, if he's with you asterisk in asterisk the fire, he'll be with you asterisk after asterisk the fire. He's not just the God who walks with you through the flames. He's the God who brings you out better than you went in. With more wisdom, with more clarity, with more power, you're not coming out empty. You're coming out with evidence. People will see what you've been through, and they'll know it was God who brought you through. So don't panic in the fire. Don't lose your mind in the furnace. Don't throw in the towel when the heat turns up. Remind yourself, he is with me. And if he is with you, asterisk, no fire can finish you. Asterisk, no devil can defeat you. No storm can stop you, because where God's presence abides, asterisk, victory is inevitable, asterisk, even in the fire, especially in the fire.